Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, providing more than 41,000 jobs in the production of wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details at choosewood.com.
This is St. Louis on the Air from St. Louis Public Radio. I'm Elaine Cha. For the first time after a deadly shooting last year at Central Visual and Performing Arts High School in South St. Louis, students returned to their stage for a public performance. The first set included students leaping into the air with tambourines in hand. The night featured a tremendous range of talents, and here to tell us about it is STLPR senior education reporter Kate Grumke, who was there last night. Kate, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I noticed right away you were smiling when you came in. We'll talk about the performances in just a minute, but first, it's important for us to remember that 2 people were killed in that shooting last October, Alexandria Bell and teacher Jean Kutchka. How were they remembered, Kate, during last night's show?
There were memories of them, I think, in every single dance move, every single clap from the audience. Their memory was just woven throughout the entire performance. But they also had videos made about Alex and about Jean that they played during the performance. And then they also... Alex's mom, Keisha Akers, was also there, and she was presented with a special award and gave a speech to kind of encourage the audience. So their memories were just woven throughout the entire night.
Yeah. So, I just mentioned the energy that you brought in. What was the overall mood like?
It was incredible. It was the cathartic, joyful experience that I think everyone had been hoping for and looking forward to. And it was so clear that these students had been pouring all of their pain and all of their difficult feelings from the last few months into their art. And I had goosebumps the whole night. It was just an incredible performance. The whole audience was just cheering, and they were so excited to be there. So it couldn't have been a happier night.
Yeah. You spoke with junior Jalen Washington, who said the performance was an opportunity for students at the school to go through their emotions with an audience.
I think this is a new chapter for all of us to keep growing and to keep spreading love and to keep the community growing and to keep showing each other love. We are a family. We really are a family. We were close before, but we're even closer now.
You also spoke with CVPA Principal Casey Shahid. What did she have to say?
Dr. Shahid said that the students really just poured all of their pain and frustration and emotions into their art. And she said that no one is really through this yet. The healing process is not over. It's going to be ongoing, maybe forever. She said that they might be in a forever growth era, but that you can see how the kids are doing on the stage.
Mm-hmm. Now, I mentioned in the introduction, there were a range of performances, and you talked about the video elements too. Tell us a bit more about the talents that were showcased last night.
So the students, they were actually being graded on their performance. So This was part of class.
Okay.
So they were given a genre, and they were asked to pick costumes, pick music, and to choreograph their performances. So we saw everything from ballet to tap to modern dance and jazz, all the way to hip hop and a Rihanna show. So there was just so many different types of performance, but all of it is at such a high level. These students are so talented.
Mm-hmm. CVPA, it's called that for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Now, you sent us a video this morning of a performance that was choreographed. It was a choreographed dance at different times between 10 and 20 students, and it was to Rihanna, as you mentioned. Let's take a listen. So I wanted to play a bit of that audio because we get a sense of the audience reaction. What did that performance look like?
So the performance started with a student catching a football on stage. So there's some athleticism involved in the dancing as well. And then students ran in from both sides of the auditorium wearing matching white outfits. And then a few of the students were wearing red, just like Rihanna's halftime show. And it was just an incredible kind of moving mosaic of students dancing. And the audience was just losing it. Like everybody was standing up, cheering. You can hear how excited they were in that clip.
Yeah. I mean, were there other media that you saw there?
Yeah, there were definitely a lot of other media there. So this was, I think, a whole moment for the whole community. You know, the students were on TV. I think that there was print reporters there. So this was definitely a moment for everyone.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, family and community, these are words that have come up a lot. What was the age range of people who were in the audience yesterday?
So the audience included students and families. So all ages. There were little kids there all the way up to, I think, grandparents in the audience. And at one point, the principal, Dr. Shahid, had younger siblings of the students come up to do a dance battle.
Oh.
So at one point, like 5 to 9-year-olds were also dancing, not clearly as practiced as the older students,
right.
But they were able to participate as well.
Okay, that participatory element that's cool. Now, whether it was the performance that we just heard with a bit of that Rihanna music or something else, what really stood out to you last night, Kate?
I think talking to the students, I could tell that this had been a moment that they had been just pouring so much energy into and practicing for months. The moments before the performance, backstage, everyone was just on cloud nine. You know, you could feel the energy of the students as they were ready to be part of something with the audience. And actually, our photojournalist, Brian Munoz, was there. So he took some really incredible photos. If people want to see what the different costumes looked like and what the dances looked like, those are at STLPR.org.
And you are our senior education reporter. And, you know, it's kind of a worst nightmare scenario to have to cover a school shooting. And we're at near the end of the school year, and that is a special time for everyone. But I imagine it's also a difficult and simultaneously joyful period at CVPA. What are your reflections on sort of the school year that has passed and the coverage that you've done?
Yeah, you're right that it's a joyful time as well as a difficult time. You know, I overheard one student getting a congratulations for getting into Morehouse. So you hear the students getting ready to go off to college. But I think that we're just lucky as local reporters that this story doesn't have to end with the shooting. That doesn't have to be the last word. The last word can be these students expressing themselves through art and showing off their talents. It doesn't have to be defined by the shooting.
Kate Grumke is the senior education reporter for St. Louis Public Radio. She attended last night's first public performance at Central Visual Performing Arts High School in South St. Louis. That is the school that experienced a deadly shooting last October where student Alexandria Bell and teacher Jean Kutchka were killed. Kate, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Today's episode was produced by Alex Hoyer.
Audio engineering and podcast design by Aaron Dork.
Our executive producer is Alex Hoyer.
St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here.
Our podcast proudly supports St. Louis artists by using music from Life Creative Group.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations. And leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thanks.
St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, committed to conservation and careful management of the state's forests to make them more resilient and better habitats for wildlife. ChooseWood.com.